laws in Hinduism, and Ms. Shushma Datt and Rukmini Ji will be talking about the laws of Manu. Now, Manu's laws were written several thousand years ago and are used to govern interpersonal relationships and roles in one's life. So with that quick background, here is this week's interview.
Thank you, Naveen. And in today's program, we've got Rukmini Ji with us. It's a great pleasure to interview you, Rukmini Ji. I've always admired you, and I've been following you, your work at the temple, Mahalaxmi Temple, and the way that you, have your work, your own work, and your work at home intermingle with such ease. I'm envious of that, and it's a great pleasure to have you in our studios.
Thank you, Shushma Ji. It's my pleasure too.
Rukmini Ji, you've been here. How many years has it been now?
Almost 18 years, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
And was it a great difference for you when you left India and came to Canada? Was the cultural shock great for you?
Yes, very great.
Yeah.
But fortunately, I came to a setting where everything was Indian, and so it was much easier to blend in. Yes.
But then when you started working, did you find it different from your lifestyle in India, or was it the same?
No, it was different. Everything's different, but it was easy to blend in. Wasn't very difficult because it's in a lab and everything was different, but still it wasn't hard to get into the framework.
So your own field, you
Yes.
achieved, you got a job in your own field.
Yes.
And what is it?
Oh, my education was in microbiology.
Wow.
And I ended up here in the University of British Columbia, also in the Department of Microbiology to start with.
Right.
And now I'm working in the Department of Pathology.
Okay, so what do you do? What do you have to do?
Do research work. Yeah, basically what I do is called tissue culture.
Okay.
Yeah, we isolate or remove cells from particular kind of cells from the brain microvessels or blood vessels.
Okay.
Yes.
And eventually what happens with your research? Who benefits?
Oh, everybody would benefit.
Right.
People, like you can develop medicines
Right.
towards stroke and tumors in the brain and things like that. So this is a very upcoming field.
Right.
And very much in the limelight because not very many people in North America have this kind of facility that we have here.
But I understand
yes.
VGH also has got
Yes.
latest equipment and
Yes.
all.
So we've been lucky that we've been the only ones in Canada to pursue in this area.
Now, you work in the university, you also help Prameya Ji at the temple, and you are also a mother.
Yes.
Now, how many kids do you have now?
3.
3, and they are a handful, I bet.
Oh, yes.
So looking after them and your work, how do you juggle all this?
Make time for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, organize your day.
Yeah.
And plus I have my mother with me, so which is a great help.
That's
And
certainly, mothers are usually great help anyway. I was when Anandji asked me to talk to you, we thought people in the West usually have a totally different image of an Indian woman. An Indian woman, timid, subservient, doesn't have enough knowledge of the world, listens to her husband all the time, says, yes, boss. That's not the image that I know of Indian women. Is that the image that you have been brought up with?
No, certainly not. It appears so because she keeps herself so. She doesn't make a show of what she really is within. And actually, if you go to see right from the Vedic times, women have been in the forefront. They have excelled in intellectual brilliance. There are women like Lopamudra, Madalasa, Gargi, Maitreyi, all have studied the Vedas and they were Vedic scholars. Not only that, they even entered into debates with Vedic scholars of their times and have excelled in all fields.
Now, when did all this change for women? I mean, it seems like even when I go to India to visit either big cities or small cities, I do find that, like the West, it's a male-dominated society. when people in the West talk about India being a male-dominated society, they forget that in the West too, it's a male-dominated society. Yeah. You look at any Hollywood film, or you look at any magazine, it's all, you know, catering to the men. When did it change for Indian women in India? Do you think, I mean, the Vedic period was a glorious period for Indian culture, Indian traditions, Indian music, medicine?
In all fields, women really have excelled. Even if you take in the Puranic times, women have excelled in different fields, like, you know, even in warfare. You must have heard of King Dasharath, Ramchandra Bhagwan's father.
Right.
Okay, once when he was on the battlefield in Indralok, and he was in a very bad situation, and it was his wife Kaikeyi, who was an expert charioteer, and she was the one responsible for bringing him to safety and saving his life. And you know, as a result of which he offered her 2 boons, which he later cashed in.
Right.
And the entire Ramayana was a result of that.
That's right.
Yes, so similarly, even in Dwapar Yuga, you'll see that Lord Krishna was once saved by Satyabhama.
Right. That's right.
She was also a very good charioteer.
Right.
So coming to modern times, you must have heard of Maharani Lakshmi Bai of Jhansi.
That's right.
Yeah, who doesn't know her?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she was the first one to form a women army, taught women how to fight, how to use guns and organize themselves in battle. And not only that, she was also very much feared by the British, and she succeeded in driving them away.
Right, right. I think that was the period when the Britishers were entering into India and had fierce opposition from Maharani Jhansi and also from Shivaji, and in the north, I think it was Guru Gobind Singh during the times of the Mughal period. Now, I always blame Manu for the downfall of women. Do you think I am justified in doing that?
No, certainly not, Sumati. I don't see eye to eye with you here. It was Manu, in Manu Dharma Shastra, where women are highly honored. You know, in one place he says that the role of a teacher, a role of a principal is equal to that of 100 ordinary teachers.
Right.
And the role of a father is equivalent to 100 principals.
I see.
But the role of a mother is equivalent to 1,000 fathers. So you see, he has held women in very high respect. And not only that, if you see, it was Lord Manu who said that he brought the concept of equality between men and women, in that the Lord himself, he says, has split himself into 2. One half is man, the other is woman. So you see the equal, that is the concept of the Ardhanarishwara.
So Rukmini Ji, in other words, Manu's, is it possible that Manu's work has been translated or mistranslated?
It's possible that it's been misinterpreted.
Right.
Yes.
So people think a woman's place is in the house, because that's where I have read it.
No, it's not necessarily so. Manu never said that women's place is in the house. So he says women are equal to men, and they have proved it so.
Now, when you say that in the Vedic time, women were, you know, I mean, they had the right to choose any profession they wanted to take. I also know that there was a pratha of Swayambar, which means a woman could choose her own husband. So the quote-unquote arranged marriage system wasn't there. When did it all change for India? Because India is known for a land of arranged marriages and a land of dowries, a land where women are killed for all this, you know.
Swayamvar was there mostly in the royal families, like you must have heard about Sati Savitri and others. Yes, in the royal families, Swayamvar was mostly there. But in the ordinary families, I think it was by arranged marriages. And they did so because arranged marriages is not something to look down upon, I think.
Okay, let's talk about arranged marriages. Why not? Why can't we look down upon them? What is the good thing in arranged marriage?
Why? Because there was a great deal of research done into it, starting from lineage. You know, all of us are believed to come or to be the descendants of the 7 rishis.
Right,
the
Saptarishi, yes.
Yeah, so we all belong to a certain race. So if you go with the genetic background, you will see that even in case of plants or animals, when you breed them, you do go into their genetic background. So
Right.
similarly, although on the face of it, it's not understood, there is a deeper significance to these arranged marriages. And if you see marriages where certain traits are more common,
right,
and they get expressed,
right,
and or same way certain diseases, for example, may be inherent in some families, and without knowing, if you don't look into these things,
right,
you are going for the wrong thing.
So in other words, Rukmini Ji, what you're trying to tell me is that everything started with good intentions, but with time it has been distorted?
It has been distorted, everything's diluted, and the main values and concepts have been lost, and that is why it is what it is today.
That also goes for not only the arranged marriages, but the caste system too.
Yes, everything is a mix-up now. There's no caste pure left anymore.
But what good is? I mean, is there any merit in? I know this is not our topic, and we can talk about this some other time. But is there any merit in having a pure caste? What do you mean by pure caste?
Pure caste is all the genetic information is maintained.
Okay.
So when there is a mix-up, everything is lost.
So was the intention of the old people in India many years ago was to keep these 7 castes separate?
It's not 7 castes.
Right.
You see, it's just like if you have, when you marry within a gotra, they say.
Right.
A gotra is people coming from one descendant.
Okay.
So they believe that it is not right.
Okay, yes.
That's called like consanguinous marriages.
Right.
So you see even among the Daudi Bohras and the Parsis where they marry
That's right.
There's a lot of problems. So
health problems.
Yes.
So that was the basis of the caste system. So they were not supposed to marry within their own gotra.
That's right.
Supposed to get married outside of the gotra. Okay. Let's come back to women again, because both of us are talking about women. I wanted, so I came back to you. When did it all change for the Indian women? When was education stopped for them, quote unquote, as seen? I think 500-600 years ago. It just suddenly women were put behind parda.
Yeah, that's mostly due to the Greek and Islamic influence on India. With their influence, what happened was women needed protection, and so in order to maintain their safety and their chastity, they were housebound, and that's how their education was stopped and everything.
So you would contribute that to what century, say 11th, 12th century? Or
yeah,
because
around the 13th century. Yeah, that's when Bhakti cult became more popular. Saints like Mirabai and Andal and so many other women saints came up at that time.
Right.
Because of being housebound.
Right.
Yeah, they more went into bhakti.
So why couldn't the education if they had been educated, they would have wanted to go out? Is that what the idea was?
Yes, they were more at home for safety reasons.
So why couldn't they get education at home?
They could have gotten education at home, but it's not the same.
Right.
Yes.
So it has changed now, Rukmini Ji, right? I mean, all that has changed. I want to talk about that, but in the next interview. But you and I both talked about Manu, and you did not agree with me as far what I thought Manu had written, and my understanding is Manu said, and I am giving you a very rough translation of that, and that Aurat means woman, a tree, and an animal are Tadan ke adhikari, should be kept in control, and is this anywhere in Manusmriti?
It comes in Bhagavad Gita, I know, but actually I don't know why you have such a prejudiced version of the Manusmriti. Let me tell you one main thing that he has said.
Yes.
It is said that where women are worshipped,
Yes.
their divinity resides, or where women are held in great respect, that is where everything is peaceful, calm, and divinity rests there.
So
sorry.
No, go ahead.
So I'll give you an example of what happens when women are not respected. If you go to the times of Ravana, take for instance, he caused pain and suffering and insulted a chaste woman, Sita. And look what happened as a result. Ravana was a great king.
Yes.
And he had sovereignty over the 3 worlds.
And he was also a scholar.
He was a great scholar. He was learned in the 9 types of grammar, of Sanskrit grammar. And not only that, his Lanka Puri, was called Sone Ki Lanka. It was the envy of even the gods. And such a beautiful kingdom he brought to destruction just because of an insult to a woman, a chaste woman.
But why don't we see all that in today's life? And why don't we see all that in Sita's life as well? Why did Sita have to give Agni Pariksha?
Sita had to, Rama was a king and he was an upholder of dharma. So sometimes to prove that, Sita had to undergo an Agni Pravesh. And not only that, a chaste woman cannot be harmed by Agni. So she proved that by going into Agni.
So she entered Agni. Okay, well, I am not satisfied with that, Rukmini Ji.
Okay,
we'll have to come back to that some other time. But I do really want to talk about the changing world and the changing role of a woman. She's got a lot of responsibilities on her shoulders.
Yes.
She has to respect the community and the family, izzat and respect. She also has to be a good mother. She also has to be a good child, good daughter. So we'll talk about that in another interview that we will do. And I take this opportunity and thank you very much for coming to our studios.
Thank you, Shushma Ji. It's my pleasure.